Well, hello, everyone. I'm going to play you the hang drum to begin with while we wait for Lynsi to pop in. Going to for a meditative space for the spirit babies. And here comes Lynsi. I were talking about maybe the pink starlights want me to bang on the actual drums. Right, Lynsi?
Hello.
Welcome. Just setting the tone for our pink starlights. Pink Starlight friends. We are having this beautiful conversation with spirit babies, specifically the pink starlights today, because they bug Lynsi Eastburn all the time.
They do. They do.
So it's about time we are having this conversation because we've done non-live stuff, podcasting stuff. And what happened that we decided to do the live? Maybe I just randomly said, do you want to do an Instagram live? And you're like, totally been meaning to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. We did your Pink Starlight attunement. And then
Yes, that's
we
right.
were talking afterward. And then it was like, yeah, let's go live.
Yeah, that pink starlight attunement. I wonder about starting with that in this conversation. For folks who are joining though, if you have a question about anything that we're talking about today, which is mostly pink starlight babies and what they're coming to the planet for, leave a comment. If you can, caption question and then ask your question so that we notice it better. And in fact, Mimi and Haley, if you are our beautiful, wonderful, lovely assistants, if you can email me the questions and I will read them for Lynsi. Well, and if it's questions for me, then I'll read them for me, but that helps us flag. All right, so let's talk. Can you say what is a pink starlight attunement?
Wow. Okay. So, well, you talked a little bit about the Pink Starlights bossing me around,
Yes.
and this is part of the way we got on the live because I've been planning on doing lives, but I haven't gotten to it. And it's like, okay, let's just throw me in. So here I am, first live. Uh, And with you, it's first. So it's like when I talked to you on your podcast years and years ago,
Mm-hmm.
right toward the end, they came up and I guess decided that I should tell you about them. And I hadn't spoken
Yeah.
publicly about them yet at that time.
Yep.
So the Pink Starlight Attunement at this point, I don't know if we need to back up at all to discuss what they are or who they are.
Oh, totally. Let's do it.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
that podcast interview was, hi, Mimi and Haley. Um, that was about hypnofertility
yeah.
because I was doing a fertility podcast at the time. And right at the very end, it was like the Pink Starlights were like, tell Maria about us. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah. And you're like, what? Now you tell me we have to get another interview or do
Yep.
another interview.
That's right. So who are they?
So the Pink Starlights, well, spirit babies in general. So I do hypnofertility, which is, obviously fertility hypnosis. Um, and I've always been tuned into spirit babies, but toward probably around 2016 or so. And it wasn't, it didn't matter who the babies were, what the spirit babies were, so to speak. I just tuned into them with my clients. But around 2016, these babies came through and decided to tell me that they're their own thing. They are their own cohort. They are their own species, whatever you want to call it. They are the Pink Starlights. And they chose that name, which they didn't tell me originally or immediately. They told me I had to come to it, of course. And it kind of came up when I was having a discussion with a friend of mine, similar to when you and I were speaking, and I was talking about the babies, and then they sort of started, bossing both of us around and intruding on the conversation to let me know what was going on. So they're their own cohort. They're not indigos or they're not crystals or some of the other spirit babies that we've heard about. And they chose this pink and the starlight because pink is the color of unconditional love, and then starlight is just such brilliant light. And their goal, we all have our purposes, right? And all the spirit babies have, their different things that they're doing. These guys, their big thing is opening or enhancing compassion on a huge scale, bringing in lots of love and lots of light to the planet. And we're in just such a mess right now. There's just so much anger, so much, just volatility, so much whatever you want to call it. That's really, frustrating and scary for people. And they're bringing in hope, but they're bringing in light. That is a really big thing. And so the attunement, they downloaded this attunement to me, and that's what they do, is they download things to me. They downloaded this book they decided that I was going to write, downloaded me all the chapters. It's like I'm putting laundry in, and all of a sudden I'm getting this whole book downloading into my head. And I'm like, wait a minute. This stuff got wrinkled here. Can I just fold it? And I run and grab a pad of paper, start writing it all down, and yep. And then I'm starting on this book for them. And then it was funny because they kept changing the book. Well, add this chapter, or we talk about this. And then one of my clients, her baby had come through in my office, but she hadn't come through Earthside yet. And we already knew her name was Paisley. And it was all of a sudden Paisley had a chapter, and it was like, hold on, we got to wait for her to get here.
Oh my gosh, what?
So it was like, stop, okay, go, oh, we're in a hurry, oh, wait, hold on. And so it took a while to get that book out, I will tell you. And then finally yes. I said to them, I go, look, guys, I'm happy to write you a second one, a third one, whatever, but I got to get this one out. I just have to. So yeah. I'm going to throw it out the window. So I did get that out there. And it was called, they gave me the title, Waiting in the Wings, Introducing the Pink Starlights. And it was, you have to get us out there. You have to introduce us. And we need people to know about us. So that's kind of that background. And then more recently, so I've been working, with clients and working with the Pink Starlights and doing hypnosis with them and with clients. And then they downloaded to me this attunement process back around December. And it was like, all of a sudden, you need to do this attunement, and this is the way you're going to do it. And I'm like, how am I going to do this? It's not like I know how to do it. And they're like, you don't need to know. We're going to do it. You're going to facilitate this. You're going to set up the space. So I'm like, okay. I learned a long time ago. Spirit brings you something, puts it in your lap. You can say yes or you can say no.
Yep.
But if you say no, it's going to come back some other way.
Especially with these souls.
Especially, boy, yeah, like, absolutely. So, and yeah, they do it. So basically, I had to spend some time in meditation and tuning in, and I'm basically claircognizant. So things just drop into my head that I don't know. Like, I don't know personally my conscious self, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden the information is there. And then I was, doing a lot of meditation and communicating and connecting in and getting the directions. Basically, they give me directions. Here's what you'll do. Here's how to do this book. Here's where to go. Here's what to, And so again, it was directions on how to do this attunement. And the purpose being, it's like, we need to get more light here. Well, I get that. And, we've had, Earth Mother, I talk a lot about that. Earth Mother's been abused, and, she's just been, we've just taken such advantage of her, and we've just overtaken, like take, just, humans, not all of us, but, in general. And so she's been in kind of rough shape, and there's huge transformation happening. There's huge shifts going on. And I think we've all been aware of that, and that there's more, light coming through. And then there's that balance of divine feminine now. We need more of the divine feminine to come through, but it's not to replace the masculine, but to balance divine feminine, sacred masculine, right? So we have that balance.
Yeah.
So that's been a big piece of it. And I think so many of us are aware, or have been aware for quite a while, but then I got the message that the light is bottlenecking, and that they're bottlenecking. And I did used to live in Chicago for a couple of years, and the traffic there is horrendous. And I got the vision in my head of they have these stupid toll booths, and everybody's like, 400 lanes, and then boom, down to 2 or 3 to get through the tolls, and then try and get back out again. And I get that image in my head, and it's like we're bottlenecking. We can't get here. You guys can't hold enough light, and
Yeah.
that's not, that's not fertility clients or parents or parents to be. It's more like on a large scale. There's a lot of
Yeah.
light, like a lot of light that we need to bring through to heal the planet and for healing ourselves and for getting to the next level, all of that. And so it was like the energy's bottlenecking. So not only do we need, part of the work I do with my clients, would be to align them with their babies and receive the babies through. But now it was like, we need this on an actual attunement type, like to align with our frequency, and we will do it.
Yeah.
Like, I do the
Yeah.
work with my clients, but now it's like they do it. So they work directly.
Yeah. I just saw a comment. I don't know if you can see that, but Kay Brune said they're bossy. They are.
So that,
One of the folks that are watching
okay.
right now, she said that the pink starlights are bossy.
They
are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they are. You better start doing this attunement. We'll do it. I mean, we'll do it, but you have to set it up. You're going to do the things.
Right.
Well, so I was fortunate enough to be able to get a pink starlight attunement from you. Now, I should say, for folks who don't know us, I think most people do, but let's just say first, you and I are both quite like grounded humans. We practice like from a sciencey perspective. I'm a mental health practitioner, right? And yet here we are. Like you don't call yourself psychic, but you're psychic. I don't call myself, it's like I'm a reluctant medium. Finally, after 6 or 7 years of sitting with this skill, I call it, I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do it because it's helpful, right? And so here you are receiving these downloads, and you know that it's necessary on the planet right now. So we've teamed up, and I got to get, oh, by the way, a tarot card popped up today in my email box about teaming up. Teaming up with people.
Of course it did. Of course it did.
Naturally, right? All right, so I got to have this pink starlight attunement, and whoa. So I went live with my folks. I have a platform on the Mighty Networks app called the Miracles Happen Community, and I went live on that with my peeps and told them about this pink starlight attunement, how mind-blowing it was. And that's when I was like, we need to have an Instagram live. More people need to know about this. So I would love to talk about that if you would be open to that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they'll definitely make sure whatever needs to be said is said. Whatever
they
needs
will,
to be
right?
said. Oh yeah.
They must be telling me.
For sure.
I'm going to get my journal. Oops, I did move it. It's over here. And I will read about it. First of all, I didn't show this to you, Lynsi, but one of the babies that I connected with in that they're this color, right? The green and the blue is the forest green. Yeah, we're going to get to that. Okay. So describe what you do. Really, there's some meditation and some hypnosis, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So basically, the attunement is, and it's kind of like Reiki. That's where I think we were talking about Reiki, because it's almost lack of a better way to explain it. And where it's, especially the Holy Fire Reiki, where the way that is done, the Reiki masters come through and do what they call ignitions rather than attunements anymore. So I've done Reiki for over 30 years. I've taught it, and it's changed. It's evolved, like we are evolving, like the earth is evolving, and at a rapid pace. And so this was kind of, I think, what they were giving me to sort of be able to wrap my head around it, because I also had to be able to explain it.
Yeah.
And it was like, you're going to do this, and it's one thing to kind of know it in your head, but it's another thing to actually be able to explain it. to be able
That's
to
for
write it
sure.
down or to be able to answer somebody's question about it. So that
Yeah.
basically what happens is I set up my space before the meeting, and I usually have my clients or whoever I'm working with do 15 minutes or 30 minutes of quiet time beforehand if they can, because this is really, really important. This is for you, and this is the purpose, is aligning with the pink starlight frequency. So there's a higher frequency, and we're always working to align with a higher frequency, or um, to evolve, I guess you could say.
Mm.
And sometimes we get, kind of frustrated with that. People talk about, like, awakening, or what levels of awakening that they're at. So this is kind of like that, but instead of you having to do the work, doing your meditation every day, doing your grounding or your earthing or whatever the things we do, this way I set the space, and they have me do various crystal patterns for the individual. They have me I have a colored pad of paper, and they have me, like, I have to close my eyes and just kind of ruffle through them and pick one. So that gives me the color of what's going on. It might be green, it might be pink, might be red, whatever it is. And then, I do this little drawing for them so that they have that to set in the center of the layout. And then I do some hypnosis, a little bit of hypnosis to bring you into the space. And then I sit aside. And they had me, actually, I had to go online one Saturday. I was online for hours finding the right music for them. They wanted music. And of course, you can't just go, you got to watch the copyright stuff and all of that.
Yes.
And so, I'm like, okay, let me find this. It's got to be copyright free, but it's got to be good. Can't be. And so then what I do is I sort of transition over to the music, and then I sit kind of over there on my floor on my meditation cushion, and hold a meditation space while they come through. So whoever is receiving the attunement, you're getting comfortable. You can be lying down or sitting in your chair or laying on the floor, whatever you want. And then it's just going with that. I guide you to a space, and then it's hanging out there, going with the music, and just being open, and just they work on you. And depending on the person, some people get a whole bunch of images or insights, and some of them just feel really peaceful, and some of them are like, yeah, that was nice. And then a day or two later, a whole bunch of stuff, it's just different for everyone. But that's basically the crux of it. And then
Yeah.
they do the work. And then when they're done, then I connect back in with you.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And I have to tell you, the images were crazy for me. And these babies, they pulled me here and pulled me there and pulled me. Okay, let's go. You're done. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. But can we talk about some of I don't need to go through my entire attunement, but I would love to talk about the connections that we made afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
They were freaking mind blowing. So,
Yes, they
okay.
were.
So I'm going to go like in order here of what happened. I'm looking at my writing here. So you had me walking in in forest into a cube shaped building, and there was a tub in there, and long story short, the ceiling is open, and light came in down into me and pulled me up out of this building, and they were swirling around me like light pink lights and babies, and they were blowing into my third eye or kissing my third eye. Okay, so let's just start there. You're laughing because I know it's unbelievable. What happened?
Oh my gosh. Yes, the oh my gosh, the connections, or what just comes, the coincidences, if you will. I do not believe in that word, but the synchronicities, but coincidence, if you wish.
Yeah.
My grandson is a pink starlight, and he's 11 months old. And just before we did the attunement, that I did it with Maria, my sister was out because my son got married, and my sister was here, and she was playing with my grandson, and he started blowing into her third eye. So, and she's like, he blew, and then you look at him and he goes, And so my grandson, we do oh, he's so magical. Like he is a pink starlight on so many levels, and we connected long before he came Earthside. And even when he was teeny tiny, like, I watch him once a week. I take care of him once a week, which is just the most amazing. And even when he was just the teeniest, tiniest, a few weeks old, I would talk to him about, remember when grandma and you would fly, and his little arms and legs would just go every which way. And he's just, I would work with him. I would say, I'm working with this client, let's say, I don't know, Sophie. Sophie's bringing her baby. Should we go get Sophie's baby? And then the two of us would like do a little meditation, and we go bring, this pink starlight through, because the pink starlights, they hang out. I mean, they're, it's not just individual. Like, this is so much on a grand scale. It's so much of a community,
Yeah.
if you will, like, just but on such a big scale, on so many levels.
Yes.
So yeah, so he's been, and he ohms. I sent you the
Yes.
video of him ohming. When I would
Ridiculously cute.
I'm really big on energy, and a lot of times I'll take if you look on YouTube, you can find the Zen masters ohming, just ohm over and over again, and they'll do it,
Yeah.
108 times or for 108 hours or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so I would always have that on in the background. And when he was tiny, he was sleeping, almost all the time. But I like to have things like that on, rather than, we can end up with the news or some talk show or something.
Yeah.
And so when he was, about 6 months old, well, even before that, and he does not fuss much at all. He's just, really, really laid back. And I think he was teething or something. And his little face was, he was upset. And I just went, oh, and his little face just, and he was just so happy to watch me so closely. And so I started doing that, and then he would try to do it, and he just watches me so closely. It's so funny. And that's these pink starlights. And the goddess or the universe, somebody decided, not only are you going to work with these guys, but we're going to drop one in your lap.
Yep.
Because we want you to have this really hands-on, really close up,
Yes.
opportunity here. And so then, that one day he was sitting in his high chair, and he was having something to eat, and I ohmed, and then he was ohming. So I took that video. 6 months
Yeah.
old, and the child is ohming. But it's just
Cute.
it just gives you like a little bit of an idea of their substance, and what they're like, and what I mean, like that
We
whole
don't know. Yeah, their vibe it's uncontainable love. I even said in my video with my people in my group that I felt like crying when I was talking to them, telling them about this attunement, because it's uncontainable. So we don't know why they blow into the third eye, but that happened. And when I told you, you were like, get out of town, right? Like, what? So
right. Well, in Reiki, though, back in the day when I did like the trainings for Sui Reiki, we did blow into the third eye. Now that I think about it, I'm thinking about that right now. But yes, so when we did a Sui Reiki, it would be, the Reiki master would set, the ceremony, but everyone would be sitting, with their hands in prayer position, and then the Reiki master would walk around them 3 times and would put symbols into their palms and all of that.
Oh, wow.
But there was that one, I forget which level now it was, where we would take their hands and then over the hands into the third eye. So
I wonder if
that just came to me right now, and so we don't do it that way with the Holy Fire, the upgrades to that system. It's actually easier to do, and the power is just unbelievable. But yes, there was that blowing into the third eye piece.
Interesting. Oh my gosh. Okay. We need to chat more about that
right.
next time, huh?
Right.
So continuing on this attunement, I'm skipping over some details so we can get to the parts where this was validated. So I ended up in another building, and with a circle of women, and in the center of this circle was a jar of feathers. Now, I have been seeing feathers like crazy, and I had the realization in that attunement that, I mean, feathers are hello, this is the pink Starlight trying to tell me we're here, we're saying hello to you. And somebody else, one of my former clients, she's been seeing feathers all over the place, and her baby is absolutely a pink Starlight. So that came up. But in that circle also was this cup of tea.
Right.
I happen to be drinking tea right now. So talk about that. When I told you that, you were like, stop it.
Oh my goodness. And this is where, my specialty has been fertility for a million years, but the pink starlights are also wanting me to get this out on a broader scale. So you don't have to be a pink starlight parent, but you may have children though who are, or you may be working with them. You could be a librarian doing story time or whatever. They just want an awareness of them out there, hence I guess the feathers. And now that you mention it, I have been seeing feathers all over the place the past few days, and I was like, why does this sound familiar? And I'm always like, if I see pennies or I see, anything like that, I always, say thank you, acknowledge that to spirit for whatever it might be. But that's really funny because I've had a lot of feathers
oh my God, that's funny. We didn't
lately.
talk about that.
Yeah. And so then the tea, and this is all in my book. My book is, like, if I do say so myself, hilarious, because I am like being told what to write and what direction to go. And I talk about my friend I mentioned earlier, White Oak, and we've known each other since I lived in Georgia for a few years, and we met in a class called Good Medicine, which was the Good Medicine Society of Arkansas, on some amazing Native American um, stuff that we were learning. So anyway, that's where I met her, and we just had this connection. Well, I was talking on the phone with her that one day, and that it was her. We were just talking, and the pink starlights hijacked the conversation, and that's when they were like, "We're our own species," and we da 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 da. And so, and this happens, and you see it when I'm being interviewed. If I'm, and I'm working with, well, everybody that interviews me, as it turns out, is spiritual. But the higher that goes, a lot of times we have more trouble with the technology. And the same with my clients. Sometimes the more intense this, energetic level goes. And let's pray, pink starlights, please keep us connected here. And that's what was happening with White Oak and I. And afterward, that's where over the next few days, I got their name. Well, she all of a sudden messages me, and she's like, "What the heck? I'm busy and the pink starlights are making me make a tea for them." And she has a shop. She's in Georgia. She has a shop. She makes, oh my gosh, she makes the most amazing things. And she's very spiritual. She's a shaman, and I always call her that. She's like, "I'm not a shaman," and I'm like, "Yeah, you are." And that's kind of the hallmark of a shaman, right? Is they're not advertising themselves as a shaman.
Yeah.
And so she's so magical, but she's like, "I had to drop everything and make this tea." And she's like, they're downloading the ingredients. She says, and she's an herbalist, or she does, works with herbs and essences and has forever and ever. And she's like, "I don't even know some of these ingredients. I don't know if they're poison. I don't know what's going on." And so she's looking them up, and she's like, "Nope, they're not poison. They're perfect. The magical properties are the healing properties and everything else." And so she ended up making this amazing tea for them, and actually an essential oil as well with the same. But and they called it ethereal. That's the name they gave her to call it.
Oh my gosh. And oh yeah, when you said that too, I told you that I'm part of the ethereal network of podcasters.
Right, the ethereal. Yeah, that's right. And it's, of course, like the babies are like, "Well, we're in the ethereal. We're not there, but we're here." But to them, they can see everything. And so sometimes it's with parents or parents to be, it's frustrating because you have to wait. But to them, they're like, "What are you worried about? Like,
yeah,
we're there." And there's no past and there's no future in spirit or in our subconscious mind.
Yeah.
And so sometimes, things can get a little wonky between, the communication, if you will, between our more linear existence in the conscious world and theirs, which is ethereal.
Yeah. Wow. It's just crazy. And I'm like, tea, okay, but they wouldn't let me drink it. They're like, "We got to go." And I'm like, I'm supposed to drink this tea. And they're like, "Nope, bring the tea with you." I'm like, okay,
Tea to go.
yeah. So we get up and we go, and there was I have to say there was to that building where the Circle of Women were. I had to be on a horse. I was on a white horse, and that becomes significant because, in fact, my sister is here. Hi, Dee. The next day, I was at her house and we were pulling tarot cards. I was doing readings. And in that tarot reading came, this is, oh my God, this is crazy. Let me actually back up. Before this attunement, I was in meditation and a person came to me that looked like Merlin, and he gave me symbols. He called them runes, but I don't know. They don't look like any runes that I can find. And so now fast forward, I'm on this white horse. No idea what that means. I'm not into horses in this life, but the next day I'm pulling tarot cards, and what comes up but the wizard? It looks like Merlin, and there's a white horse in the freaking background, and he's talking about receiving symbols. Now, during this attunement, you pulled an angel card for me, and it was what, Ezekiel, I think? No, Raziel.
Raziel, I think, yeah.
Archangel Raziel, who stinking looks like Merlin. And he's talking about giving me symbols.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that piece, because the alchemy, you know, the as above, so below, as above, so below. They pretty much etched that into my brain.
Yes.
That's that balance that's occurring. And so, and I had gotten that image when I was doing my meditation. I don't try to get anything, but I just sit, and then if they give me anything, I jot that down and we kind of compare notes. But yeah, I was kind of getting that image, and then here it was on your card, and then you ended up, yeah.
Crazy. Well, speaking of as above, so below, this is the next nuts thing. So before you began the attunement, you asked if I had any questions for the Pink Starlights, things that I wanted to get from them. And I asked, when I do spirit baby readings, there are souls that pop in that they feel very similar to me, like as a Pink Starlight, but I'll ask them directly, are you a Pink Starlight? And they say no, but we're associated with them. We're connected to them. We collaborate. And I wanted to know who they were. So now I'm back on this horse, going back in the forest, and the Pink Starlights take me to this little, it looks like a little gnome house or something, but it's like regular size. And so I knock on the door, and the door opens, and there's this little boy inside. And I said, who are you? Are you one of the babies that's associated with the Pink Starlights? He says, yes. And I said, well, what can I call you? And he said, Earth Star. We're Earth Star children. Now, I didn't know what that meant. But when I said that to you, you were like, so can you explain that?
Yes, that was really funny too, because they have me work with the Merkaba symbol, or the Merkaba. Somebody told me that I don't know which way it's pronounced. I call it Merkaba, which is a six-pointed star, but it's like 3D. Well, actually, I have one here. Can you see that?
There it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's really interesting because there's an Earth Star chakra, and then somehow I was doing some research. I think I was doing the research to figure out how I could actually explain this attunement process in words, and came across that. And what's the symbol associated with the Earth Star chakra? Well, it's the Merkaba.
Yeah.
And actually the Merkaba also is associated with the heart chakra, which is that unconditional love. That's where all the pink is too, about
I didn't know
incredible
that.
love. So it's actually quite fascinating. Okay, I do see a question. Merkaba,
There you
I
go.
believe.
Oh, yeah.
This is really good for me to actually see a question, answer it, and not.
I know. There's a couple other questions too. We'll get to those.
Yeah. So so that was a really huge piece. It's funny because I have a chapter for the book called Sacred Geometry, but it didn't get into the book because at one point I said, look, guys, we've got to publish this book. You're not going to be introduced if I don't get the book out there.
Yeah.
And so, so we did. And then, so there's still a chapter that hasn't gone through yet on sacred geometry. And so that's a part of, so I'm being guided by them with things that I don't necessarily, know, but it's that trust piece. So then of course they give you that Earth Star. Well, that's what happened with White Oak, was she and I were talking, and then there's that elevation of frequency. And then that's when they're saying, well, we're a different species, you need to recognize us and get us recognized as,
Mm-hmm.
who we are. And it was kind of the same thing that happened, because you had mentioned that, and to me, I'm aware of both, but there wasn't really an awareness of any separateness. Well, they're not separate, but
Yeah.
this is like an extra piece kind of thing. And so that
Yeah.
elevated frequency, that connection, and here comes another piece, right? Or here comes
Yes.
some more. So totally, yeah, totally
Yeah.
fascinating.
It is. Well, they feel very similar in vibration to me, except these apparent Earth Star children, they feel, and now just to make this connection, pink starlight as above, so below,
Right.
Earth Star, right? And then like up in the spirit world. But they feel less bossy, just more chill, but they still have that assertiveness. They're like, we're gonna do this thing, as opposed to, come on, you can't drink that tea. Come on, you got to bring it with you. Let's go.
Right.
They're more like, we're going to do this now. They just have a different. It's just slightly different vibe. Um, by the way, um, your grandson's name is Teddy. My husband's name is Teddy. This 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 person I talked about, her spirit baby is a pink starlight. Her Earth Star son is Teddy. There he is. Yep, my Tedman.
Go
Yeah,
Teddy.
yeah,
Yeah,
go
that's
Teddy.
right. Well, and Teddy sent
Crazy.
his name ahead, like, and my babies do that. Like my clients' babies, or their babies, pink starlights and spirit babies, they'll send their names ahead. And that's what happened with Teddy. He did all of a sudden. My daughter-in-law was just all of a sudden, she had this name Theodore, and she's like, "That's his name." And then she told my son, he's like,
That,
"That's his name." And I'm like, "Yep, that's how they do it. That's
that's
like they just let you." And so Teddy, and then he's just that boy owns Teddy too. Like, he's Theodore, but he owns that Teddy piece.
uh-huh,
So
uh-huh.
Teddy.
Yep. Kay Brune, she just said, I call it the Bob Marley vibe. Yeah, that's the Earth Star child. Yep. That
Right, right.
okay.
Well, and that's very much,
It's fine.
that's actually very much Teddy. And I was thinking about it since you and I had the conversation and the attunement, and it was almost like the pink starlights, because the babies that I see my clients actually have tend to be like Teddy.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, maybe not so bossy, but it's like, okay, maybe it's from that spirit piece where they need you to do something, or they need, like, they are bringing their, don't kid yourself, people. If you think that you're here of your own accord, your pink starlight somewhere brought you here. They picked you up and brought you, because that's what they do. And I tell my clients, I go, yeah, you're not my client, your baby's my
Yeah.
client,
Right.
And so they are bossy in that sense, because the big thing is that we have to be able to hold space for them, and we have to be able to parent them in a way that they cannot be parenting us. So they need parents, or they need somebody in their life that's done their own work, that and realizes that life is a work in progress, right? But is open and receptive, is going to listen to them, but also provide structure. They do need parents, because they are coming in as children, and they do need parents. Because for a while there, we've had like a lot of that, where parents weren't parenting their children, the children were calling all the shots, and that just is not
Yes.
going very well at all. It's not good for kids. It's not good for their brain development. But, it's a whole other conversation. But they do need parents who are going to be willing to watch a podcast like this, or a Instagram live like this, or going to be willing to have a session with you, or read your book or my book, or be open in those
Mm-hmm.
sorts of ways. Back in the day, especially for the indigos, and I learned, way after the fact, that I was an indigo, and I believe you did too.
Okay,
After I said, "You're
I
an
could
indigo,"
tell
and you're
people
like, "No,
that.
I don't think so."
I
And then, yeah.
don't know. And then you're like,
I'm
Just
like,
take a
do
quiz.
the test. Yeah, there's a quiz. Just Google it online. Indigo adult quiz. Do it. You'll see. But the indigos usually had a pretty rough start and had to be tough. You know, they had to, like, you know, parent their parents, or they had like an abusive childhood or neglectful, or whatever the case was. Very difficult things to overcome. Because they had to be strong, because they were here to break down the paradigms. We had to get rid of this old stuff, and we ought to be able to start bringing in the new. So that was their thing. Whereas the Pink Starlights, it's like, we don't have time to go backward. Pink Starlights can't parent their parents. They need the parents to be open and receptive. I was a vegetarian child. Okay, I grew up in Canada in the 70s. What? A vegetarian? What are you, from Boulder? Um, maybe California. I don't know. They just thought I was weird as anything can be, and I fought it too. And I would not concede. I was forced to eat meat, or, you know, I was made fun of by the other kids because I wouldn't eat it. And I was like, fine, I don't care. I think I'm weird. I just don't. I can't. It's not. You know, I was forced to eat it when I was a kid, but as soon as I could get away with it, or away from it, you know, I was like, no, that's not me. And I'm not saying you have to be a vegetarian, or that they do, but they have to be able to express to you something like that, and then not be sent to their room, sent to bed without dinner, sat at the table for hours, you know, whatever else, sent to timeout, any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, the parent at least needs to listen, you know, and be
Yeah.
willing to. I think, I don't know if it's you I said this to, it was someone I was talking to, but it was like, you know, a little 3-year-old Pink Starlight may say something like, I need to go on a quest to India.
Yeah.
And then the parent then does not put the 3-year-old, you know, on the flight and send them off to India. But you know, but does talk with them, figure out what we can do with this house, you know, that kind of thing. Just not to say, oh, don't be stupid, you can't go, you're 3 years old to India, and besides,
Right.
you need to go, you know, play baseball or whatever, you know,
Right.
whatever preconceived ideas that sometimes adults have.
Right. But also, even like the everyday things, like seeing things that others don't, hearing things that others don't, feeling other people's feelings, knowing that something's going to, you know, premonitions or something. If they have parents that are open to that and not like, that's just your imagination, like my parents would have said, then that's, yeah, that's a great piece to the parenting thing with these babies.
Yeah, no,
So
absolutely.
lastly, I just want to say this. You had mentioned the bottlenecking, that it's hard for them to get here because we can't hold enough light. They said to me, they showed me a tsunami of change coming soon.
Yeah.
And they told me, be ready. I'm like, oh God. Now, you and I talked beforehand, there's a big tsunami in my life right now. I'll have to, you know, hinting to it now for other people, that'll come out later. But yeah, eventually it'll be good, but it feels really freaking scary. Change, right?
Yeah.
And it's for the good, it's for the light to come in. So yeah. Did you talk, Lynsi, about, was it, did you say you were like on the agenda for a new book, is how people would know if they, or no, you were going to do a class or something. How do we know if we have a Pink Starlight child? Or, you know, was it something like that? You were going to do like a workshop or?
Yeah, I do need to do something like that. I think they were probably dropping it in my head and your head around that time. I mean, I know that I have a
Oh,
to-do list that's, you know, 40 miles long.
oh,
But
naturally.
definitely, yes, how to know if your child is a Pink Starlight, or if you're around Pink Starlights. And so, like I said earlier, for infertility has been my specialty, but they're wanting to go beyond that. And people struggling with fertility, as you know, because you know, worked really closely with this as well.
Yeah.
Um, it's what I call an initiation that they go through. It just really just takes their life apart in so many ways, and it can be crushing, and you know, it's devastating, and but it does at the same time, like it is like a tsunami,
Yeah.
and all of this goes through, but then you know, you're drawn to look into some different things, to change the way you think, maybe, or whatever it might be. It's a journey.
Mm-hmm.
And then these babies come through, and it's like you're in a position to bring them through because you can hold that light. Even a spiritual person, like maybe a person goes to acupuncture and they have a meditation practice, and then they're struggling with fertility issues, but that can be prompting an expansion on another level that had people just had their baby, oh, I want a baby, here's my baby, away I go. We can take the kids for granted, number one, and then, beyond that, not open to the level that they would need us to.
Yeah. Speaking of, I just want to backtrack real quick. Speaking of the tsunami thing, I didn't tell you this, Lynsi, but I told my people, I had a dream. I don't remember how long ago it was, but I looked it up again and went, oh my God, that actually happened. I had a dream that I was laying on the beach with somebody else's baby. He was not mine. And the mother was a couple paces away. And we were just playing. And I look out to the ocean and here comes a giant tsunami, huge. And I grabbed this baby and I said, don't you worry, everything's going to be fine. And that's how the dream ended.
That's so awesome.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah. I mean, it is and it isn't, right? I mean, it's so, it's typical. It's it's nuts and it's, I don't know.
This is why I ask folks to write their dreams down, write your dreams down, because you never know how it's going to come in. Can we answer a couple of questions?
Absolutely. If you can find them, we can answer them.
Yeah, I'm a looking here. Let's see. So how long have pink star, this is like a multi-question question. How long have pink starlights been around? Are they like millennials? My pink starlight baby has got a strong twinning vibe with me. Could I be one as well? I can't call myself a millennial.
I don't even think the millennial is the, all of the Gen X and all of that stuff really isn't on even the same, I don't want to say level, but it's not quite the same thing anyways as being indigo or being
it's an earthbound label.
It's more, right. It's more, it's more of a, earthbound. That's a good way to put it. So the pink starlights, they can certainly have been around longer. They just decided they really wanted people to know about them. So they've had their name, I don't know what they called themselves before, or if anything, but it's been like since around 2016 where they were like, okay, we need to almost like take a stand. We need people to know we're here. We need to have a name. We need, that kind of thing. So yeah, you could totally be a pink starlight, as could your child for sure. And there's also, sometimes there's like a blend of them, like with indigos, even though they mostly, sort of came through around, I guess, the 70s or 80s, and some of them came through earlier and they called them scouts that would sort of come out and start, just start checking things out, maybe reporting back, that kind of thing. And so certainly we can have that with the pink starlight energy. I've never been attached to knowing what the spirit babies were. What happened with me was women would come in and say, I've been given a 0% chance of ever having a baby or ever getting pregnant, and I know there's a baby there. And I always said, yeah, I believe you. I know it. I feel it. And there was no, I never really thought about what kind of baby would that be. You know what I mean? Until this whole pink starlight thing sort of came out, and they're like, I think really more than what they're called is more about what their purpose is. And it's that huge amount of light and that huge amount of brilliance, of brightness, like do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, right. Then they just started downloading information to you. Hello, we are the pink starlights.
Right. Exactly. And there's all sorts of labels, right? We talked about that too, crystals and rainbows and things overlap, because there's the rainbow children that are sort of a type of spirit baby, but then there's rainbow babies that are in the fertility or pregnancy realm that are, babies that make it earthside after a loss.
Yes.
And there's kind of that overlap, so it doesn't necessarily even mean the same thing. And so I guess it's really their purpose. They're kind of saying, we need to be pink starlights. You need to get this out so they understand that this is something unique. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now that you're talking, I wonder if because in this attunement, my grandpa came through. Now, I'm a
Right.
medium, right? I talk to family members all the time, but and my grandpa is one of, I mean, like, talk about the kindest, most compassionate, like, would not hurt a fly soul. Um, I just can't, I haven't been able to really connect with him. And so he came through in this attunement. He said, I was waiting for this. And he told me that he's a pink starlight, but he's my grandfather. So
Right.
I wonder if he was a scout.
Well, I
Like,
was thinking that after you had said that about him too, and I do not profess to know everything,
yeah,
or
yeah.
anything in so many cases. I say, when I was 16, I knew everything. I
Yes.
wish I was 16.
Now
So
I know
now
crap.
I don't know
I know.
anything.
Dang it.
Yeah, I wish I could get that back. 16, you just know it all, right?
That's
No, I
right.
don't know anything now. So, but for sure, like, it makes sense just sort of from the whole concept of spirit babies and pink starlights and so forth, that there's
Yeah.
definitely, and look at Jesus, or look at Buddha, or look at healers that have come through in the past, that aren't necessarily in any particular label or cohort or whatever, that
Yeah.
we maybe haven't even thought to, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, to even
Yep.
even consider. So it's not like this is just something that's just happened in the last few decades.
Right. Hundreds, thousands of years. Okay. Let me find another question here. Gabriel, I was in Chicago this past weekend and saw a ton of feathers. I just thought it was all the pigeons.
Did you see the backed up toll booth where
Oh,
the
yeah, right.
bottlenecking was?
Did you see the bottleneck? Nanners3 asks, where can we buy the ethereal tea?
Okay, so I am trying to think what White Oak's website is. And normally I would take my phone and look, but I can't because
I'll
my phone
look.
being so yeah, White Oak.
White
I think
Oak.
it's White Oak Art Designs and more, because she's an artist as well as, like I say, she's everything. She's a healer
There she
and
is.
makes these teas. Did you find her? Oh, great. Because I know
Yeah.
I'm bugging her to get an actual website, because she has been
Yeah.
connected
It's
otherwise. So.
actually whiteoakartdesigns.com.
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay, but I just didn't want to give that out just in case I was wrong. So thank you for confirming that.
Yes. Oh my, she's freaking ravens on her
Oh, yeah.
website. Nenners. This is a thing with Nenners, and me, ravens. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Wait.
she has an incredible sleeve tattoo, or tattoo. It's almost a sleeve anyway, that with ravens. Yeah,
Oh
that's definitely one of
my,
her totems. Yep.
that's that's what I want. So I have my owl here, but I want my raven here. That's crazy. Whoa. That is for Nenners right there. She
It's
and
an
I were discussing raven
well,
energy.
yeah, now that actually this just popped into my head, so it must have to be said.
Mm-hmm.
They really do love animals. Um, they really, really,
Oh, good.
really have an affinity for animals, and almost every single person that I work with has a dog, multiple dogs, sometimes cats, horses,
Yep.
you name it. But really, really, really do. They're so connected
Not
with animal
shocking.
energy,
Yeah.
and wild animals as well. But I think they use the dog as kind of like almost as a symbol for us to be like, yes,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh no, I thought I was drinking from my Yellowstone cup. When we were in Yellowstone over the summer, a raven was following me around. I like literally, I broke out my phone and just started recording because it's just following me everywhere. Raven energy. I love it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Raven is such magic. And, it is, if you're seeing animals, like I was just over there's this a little rec center not too far from me with a lake. It's just a little lake, but I'll go over there to, walk around or whatever. And I was there the other day, and I looked in the lake, and there was just these two little turtles, and they were just floating just below the surface, and they were just sitting right there looking at me. And I'm like,
Oh,
your picture. And then they went, right under, and then they popped back up again, but they would not let me take a picture. But
there's your
you always
answer.
want, yeah, you always want, though, that's always a message, and you always do want to go look that up.
Yes.
And turtles, well, they have a lot of meanings, but one of the things that they represent is mother. and Earth Mother. And so, you're getting a message or you're getting a
Yeah.
reminder.
Yes.
And so, if you get Raven flying by, you check that out, or if it's a turtle or if it's, elephant came to me. Um, the elephant spirit came to me a few months ago, I guess it was, in meditation and to do with these guys. And usually what'll happen is I'll be taking a walk and an animal will show up, a snake or a whatever, or a zillion grasshoppers or something that you take note of.
Yeah.
And I was saying to a friend of mine, I said, I wish that I'd be walking along and an elephant would just be coming right along the road toward me. That would be cool. So I was at this building and I went into the restroom. When I came out, there was a picture on the wall opposite the restroom, and it was an elephant coming down the road. And I'm like, elephant, you did it, because it wasn't very likely I was going to see one here in Denver, Colorado. But I put that out there that I'd like to see an elephant coming toward me on a road, and literally there was this picture.
It's crazy.
And I looked up elephant, and one of the things with elephant is, matriarchal society, and they're very connected, and they're very, they're matriarchal, they're motherly. And I kind of get that sort of sense of being a matriarch in the spirit baby world is kind of what I feel like they're trying to tell me. And so if you're getting an animal, or you look up at a cloud and you see a shape, look at that, because that is one strong way that they can communicate with us.
Oh, that's scrying at its best. Cloud seeing.
Right.
I had a really intense dream about animals that I actually talked about on my podcast, and I haven't looked those animals up yet. I asked an actual shaman. There's some big change in my future. Big change. The tsunami, the big change. Yep. Kay Bruins commented, LOL, we also have turkeys. Pink starlights are like turkeys.
Oh, and turkey has a really powerful meaning too, outside of sort of what we know the animals to be as like farm animals. But wow, it's just amazing what some of the messages can be from these creatures. Incredible. And this is about Earth and her inhabitants. We took over, and we're the only ones, the humans. I mean, we take everything and we're controlling everybody else, and we have foxes are running through the suburbs because we put the suburbs over their territory. There's no place left. So we do have to, that balance is really important to keep in mind, and that these creatures, we're all creatures of Earth, and that they're as important and have incredible magic and messages too.
I was driving down just right out my neighborhood about a week ago, and right on somebody's lawn was I don't even know what you call them, a bushel, I don't know, a ton of turkeys just hanging right there on their lawn. I'm like, okay, now I'm saying, and now I need to look it up.
Gotta look it up, because you gotta, and that happened to me too on one of the paths I was walking along. Try to get a walk every day, or almost, if I can. And it's not like I'm out in nature per se. I'm not really near anything unless I like make a trek. So I'm sort of in like, maybe a path that goes through some neighborhoods. It goes kind of a park. And all of a sudden one day, a whole bunch of turkeys just came right out in front of me. And so I'm like, okay,
so funny.
Turkey it is. Let me look up turkey. And I can't remember off the top of my head what that message was, but I know it was actually profound. So
I'll have to look at that. And when we came back home, they were still there, right on that neighbor's lawn, just hanging out. It was a mama and a bunch of babies.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
It was interesting, and the mama was like looking around, like, what are you doing? Driving by. It was cute.
She was probably seeing pink starlights floating all around your car, or inside your car, going, "What?"
Whee! I could see them doing that. All right. So I have one more. I have a question for you, and then if just a reminder to folks watching. So if you have any questions about spirit babies or the pink starlights, please post in the comments, and we'll get to it. We're just coming to the end here, but I have a quick question. How do you advise people to start bringing the light? Like, you and I, we're doing this because we want to bring more light, more high vibration onto the planet. What can people do like starting now to bring more light?
Yeah, that's huge. And there are so many of us who are light workers, and there's an activation of light that's going on. So kindness and compassion, huge. The Pink Starlights are so about that. Um, and, can you do a random act of kindness? And, maybe every day you could do a random act of kindness. And it doesn't have to be any big deal. One of the things that you can do is, email or text or message somebody out of the blue to tell them how much you care about them or how much they matter to you. Um,
Mm.
Something to say something kind. I did that with a friend of mine. She's actually a friend of my sister's, but she's been through a lot. And I, messaged her and I just said, you're doing great. And I'm so happy to know you. And, you're navigating all this stuff beautifully. And she was just so thrilled to, hear that. And so things, you don't even realize how much, there's all those, have you read all of those articles and studies about people who are about to commit suicide and one person was kind to them and it changed everything?
Yes.
And so I try to keep that in mind if I'm at, you go to the grocery store, sometimes you see the cashier with red eyes because somebody has just been so mean to them.
Yeah.
And I always try to be extra kind to people in any kind of service, customer service position, because people do oftentimes think they're their punching bags.
Yeah.
And so I always try to be, I try to be very much aware of that. So we could put out, just acts of random kindness. And they can be very simple, simple things, but just acknowledging or maybe giving a little bit of extra attention to a dog or, whatever,
Hmm.
whatever that
Yeah.
might be, or petting your
Yeah.
dog, maybe instead of telling your dog I'm busy, taking a little extra time for them, but
Yeah.
whatever that is. So that's something that you really
Yeah.
can do. Um, very easily.
Yeah.
And actually they did have me put in my book several meditations where you can connect with your pink starlight.
Oh, cool.
So that's an option if somebody's looking for something like, more structured per se.
Hmm.
But bringing, yeah, bringing
Yeah.
in the light, so many ways is, but kindness, compassion, and then what else you can do is stop with some of the noise,
Yes.
the phones, and not for our live, of course, but we
No,
can get
clearly
we get
not.
scrolling, we get stuck. People are kind of mean a lot lately, especially on some of
Sure.
these Facebook things and memes. Like, stop it. And
Yeah.
instead of, don't let that suck you in, and because that
Yeah.
darkens our energies, and
Hmm.
there's a darkening in the collective because of so much of this. So the more of us that just don't kind of fall into that, the better. Like the more light that there is, that there will
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. Just think about that like sound waves, what you were just saying. Like, you're kind to one person, it doesn't stop there. There have been studies that show this someone observing that kindness also feels increased vibration. This actually happened in a grocery store recently with me. The cashier was really like flustered and she had a long line and there was somebody in front of her that was like, taking forever with their payment and it wasn't going through or whatever, right? So she's really flustered and she ends up, rigging me out. She's, putting the groceries away or whatever in the bags. And at the very end of the transaction, I can see the person behind me is like, okay, another freaking line, another slow line, blah blah blah, right? So I say to the cashier, you know, you're just killing it. Oh my, look at you go. You're just killing it. And she's like, thank you. It's my first day.
Oh,
It's my first
oh,
day. She was by
oh,
herself doing
oh.
all this, what she was doing. And I'm like, you are killing it. The person behind me softened right away. Softened right. I watched
Mhm.
as I walked away. I watched and then, hi, softened right away. So
Yeah,
one
you're,
little thing, you're killing it. That's it. That's all
and
it took.
yeah, and it's just little things, we don't have to do big, huge things. It's little things, and they oh my gosh, yeah. Oh, that is beautiful, and that's exactly what I mean too. It's
Yeah.
just, anything you can do, and even, if you see someone that, they may be, especially homeless people, you don't have to give them money, but you can look them in the eye.
Yes,
You
you
can.
can.
In my mind, what I'll do is I'll offer a blessing,
Yeah.
and I can't even always look them in the eye because maybe they're on the road somewhere, like, when you're like on a meet median or something and you're driving by but you can't stop or whatever. But I'll just send a blessing immediately if I see a car accident or we're tied up in traffic. Instead of getting upset, I send, angels or positive thoughts and healing, that everything is okay, that everything will be okay, rather than so that's like some of the littlest things, but they bring so much light.
Yeah. So if everybody on this call today, on this Instagram live, goes and does a random act of kindness, there are 13 people right now watching, plus you and me. That's 15 random acts of kindness that multiply to what? Thousands, probably. Thousands and thousands.
It's the results are infinite. I mean, really, there's just so much. There's so
I'm
much.
sorry, the pink starlights just popped in to my awareness.
Of course they did.
I'm sorry. Sorry. They are like shouting and cheering right now, jumping up and down. Yay! Like right now in my awareness, literally jumping up and down. I see lights. Yes, everybody, please go do it. They want to come in so bad.
Yeah.
They want to come in like now, and we just on this planet don't have enough light to hold for them. So
right.
Do your random acts of kindness, everybody. Spread that light so these babies can come in, so we can spread more light. And that's what they need to do.
It is going to benefit all of us. It's going to benefit everyone, even the grumpy heads that are problematic, if you want to call them that or whatever, that are causing all sorts of a lot of upset and whatnot. But it's going to benefit them too, because it's this more grounded energy is coming through. It is divine, feminine, sacred, masculine balance. It's just amazing. So the pink starlights are right. It's not just about people bringing in babies and that have struggled. That's definitely a piece, but then also it's like there's so much more. It's beyond words, really.
Yeah.
It's hard to.
It is. Yeah. Well, so people just need to pick up Waiting in the Wings, your book, introducing the pink starlight. I'm sorry, the Pink Starlights book. It's their book.
It's their book, truly. I'm lucky my name's even on it. I did have to do a lot of work. It was a lot of work. But yeah, I wanted to include, some either hypnosis or meditations or whatever you want to call them, and there's a couple of ceremonies in there and whatnot. And even if there's lots to do with pink starlights and not necessarily fertility. So I found that was a way that I could get that out on a large scale, as I guess quickly, as simply as possible, because I'm only one person, and you're only one person, so only so many of us can do so much. So
well, and also honestly, I don't just focus on fertility anymore. Now I do spiritual stuff. A lot of folks who are not struggling to conceive come for a spirit baby reading. They want to know, do I have babies? Should we begin now? Or they've had an abortion in the past. They're not sure if that's a problem or a barrier. Do I need to process that? Whatever. So a lot of folks who aren't struggling come for a spirit baby reading, and sometimes all the crap that they've been through, and I'm like, no wonder you have a pink starlight on the other side. By the way, Lynsi, they're showing up more for me. They're showing up more.
Of course, they're like, finally, Maria, you're listening. Okay, we've been knocking, and now you're fine. Both of you two are cluing in now, right? It's like, it's that. And you know what, to what you were saying, the second chakra, the fertility, but that's also creativity. That's birthing projects. That's rebirthing yourself. There's so much that's going on there that is a part of all of this. And I guess that's going to be my next project. It hasn't been downloaded yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 5 minutes it comes. But it's really going to be getting that on maybe a broader scale, or maybe, I don't know exactly how to explain it, but where it's really getting out there for people. And I think I've been on a lot of podcasts lately, and several times people have said to me, so you have hope? And I said, yeah, I have hope. And they say, wow, because, people are feeling there's a lot of hopelessness going on. And I really do feel hope, and realize that there's so much light, and this stuff that's happening right now, it's just it's just breaking up of the paradigm. It's crumbling, it's crashing, it'll sweep it away, and oh, it's going to be so amazing. It is. It's amazing every day. It is.
It is. Sometimes it looks bleak,
Yeah.
and that's leading to the light. So
Yeah. Yeah.
just a
And you know that,
reminder.
yeah, and look for the good.
Mm-hmm.
And a friend of mine, he's in his 80s now, and he told me he read this, look for the good and you'll always find it, when he was like a kid, and he decided to make a lifelong practice of looking for the good. And even in the worst things, and he said, I couldn't believe I always found it. And his wife died after they'd been together 50 years. And he told me, he said, I thought I'm never going to find, there's not going to be any good in this. And he says, I looked for the good and I found it. And not to say that he wasn't, totally trashed over losing his wife. And I mean, my gosh, 50 years.
Yeah.
But he was like, I learned some new things about me. I found, he said, I learned that I like to have an accent wall. She always wanted to have everything white. And I painted the dining room with one yellow wall, but it is really huge because, it's so easy to get sucked down into the negative, or the
It is.
fear, or the hopelessness, or whatever that is, and to look for the good, and find even the
Yeah.
littlest, tiniest thing.
Yeah. Do you know who Cynthia Sue Larson is? She
Mm-mm.
does a lot of work on the Mandela effect.
Oh, okay.
Mandela effect. Um, Her favorite thing to tell people, her favorite, absolute, like, number one, you have to do this every day, is ask, how good can it get? How good can it get today?
Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
And the subconscious mind is goal achieving. It's going to find you what you're focusing on. So when you ask it a question like that, it's going to tell you, it's going to find, oh, you want to know how good it can get? Well, let's find out.
Yeah.
And it will find that for you, rather, as if you never want to say, oh God, what next? No, don't say that, because
Exactly.
the
No.
subconscious goes, oh, that's what you want. Let's see what we can find
Right.
next. So yeah. Yeah, that's
Right.
brilliant advice. I love that.
It's a cool phrase. I love it. Wow, Lindsay. I mean, shoot. Do we have 3 more hours, or?
Sure.
I mean, the pink starlights would be stoked.
I
They're like, yeah,
Oh, they
what?
were.
What's
They
time?
were. Well, it was funny too when you said you were doing these Instagram lives, because I have been told I need to be doing these Instagram lives at least once a week.
Mm-hmm.
And that was back in
Wow.
July. And then, I'm a Capricorn, so, I'm like, well, I don't know. I mean, I need to be able to do it perfectly and standing on my head in my sleep before I want to try it, right? And I sort of kept, well, we had people in town in July, and I had to go up to Canada in August, and then September my son got married, so I couldn't do it, right? But I know that I needed to get it started. When you said that, I'm like, of course they're gonna say, well, you don't want to do it yourself, we're gonna jump you in there with Maria,
That's it.
and then you get on doing your own. So either that, or
Yeah.
I get to hang out with you on yours. You can hang out with me,
Yep.
and I guess we'll see what they've
Yep.
got in store for me next.
They have something. Tell me right now. They have something in store for us. This is like some kind. They're using the word partnership.
Yeah.
They're using the word like collaboration, partnership. There's something going on that they're going to reveal to us. Who knows? But
Oh
they've
yeah,
already.
no, there totally is. There just is, and it's just gone that way with you. I mean, it was
Yeah.
like the first time when you interviewed me, it was sort of straight up, you know, science-y type of, therapy type of, and now it's then the spiritual piece starts, coming in, and then how many times have you interviewed me? I think 4 times now.
Yeah.
So, and each
Yeah.
time it would seem like it was like, oh, here's the new book. Let's talk, right? And just all of this. So they've definitely. Sometimes it takes us, as human beings, longer to catch on to things that spirit is
Yeah.
bringing to us than, and they're sitting there kind of like, well, yeah.
They're just saying sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most of the
They're like,
time.
well, yeah, finally you figured it out, or what do you think we were saying, right?
Yeah, they've been sending you all these feathers. What the heck? I would find them in the weirdest spots too. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the heck? Yeah.
Yeah. And, you have to pay attention to those. I was telling my husband, I have this really weird sign that I got from the universe or spirit or whatever, pink starlights. And what it is I get a whole bunch of cars all around me that are the same color.
Ah,
And all
yep.
of a sudden, the car behind me, the car in front of me, beside me, going the other directions, coming toward me, they're all white or they're all red or they're all something. And at first I was trying to figure out what does that mean, but then I'm like, I think it's just a reminder that, look for signs, or that there's magic in the world, there's more to it than what we kind of think. And my husband's like, well, that's kind of generic, but we went to this place called Grand Lake. It's a little town in the mountains, and they just have this one main street. And we went up there, it was a few years ago, and we get up there, and I had not long ago told him, not long before that, I had told him about that particular sign, whatever that is. And so he's like, well, yeah. So we're walking up the street, the middle of this one main street, just goes through the town, and every single car was burgundy.
What?
Yeah.
I'm thinking white. Okay,
car,
white, but
burgundy. Truck, whatever, van, SUV, up and down the street. And I said, see, like, what's the chance of that, right? I don't know if the particular color means anything, but it was, it was just the universe showing him, like, yeah, see?
Just saying.
Yeah. And so just notice what you notice. And the more you intend to notice things, the more you'll notice them.
Yep.
And you can always ask for bigger signs, right? And, I'm not completely clear. Could you give me another sign? And, the more you pay attention to them, that's the same thing. And what you said, ask what did you say exactly? What can get better today? How good can it be?
How good can it get? Yeah.
How good can it get? And it's the same with signs. You're just putting that out there. The subconscious will be like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yep. That reminds me of something I put in my book, which is there's some metaphysical stuff, but it's not big spiritual stuff. That's probably coming at some point. I put in my book, my friend who is very like sciencey grounded, like spiritual stuff is not a thing. I was visiting her, and we were driving in a parking lot that's notoriously just packed. And she's like, we're never going to get a spot in here. I was like, yeah, we will. I just put it out there that we're going to find one right when we drive in. And we drove in, and boop, there it was. She's like, oh my God. Like, it just,
it's huge. Just intend. The same with, driving. You can, whenever I have to drive somewhere, I'll put, energy around the car. I put it around myself and everybody, people I think of or connected to. And then I came up with this is my little prayer now, because I drive an hour down to take care of Teddy once a week. And, right, it's not exactly like this little backstreet drive, right? It's rush hour, and it's the, tollway and all of this. And so now I have my little, prayer, if you want to call it that, but it's easy peasy sneezy pleasy. I get in my car, I imagine this light around me, I serve, and I just go easy peasy sneezy pleasy, and oh my God, I don't know where that came from. But it's just beautiful. And my sister, I was up in Toronto, and she's like, frustrated with all the traffic in the cars, and I'm sitting there going easy peasy sneezy pleasy. If nothing else, maybe it just makes you laugh or have a little bit of humor, and even at that, it shifts your energy, and
you just raised your vibration there, right?
So
just
there you go.
Thinking about being next to somebody in the traffic when you're like easy peasy sneezy pleasy, ha ha ha, laughing, and the person's looking at you, and now suddenly seeing a smile on somebody's face brightens them and raises vibration, and there you go. See?
Yeah, and just like kind of avoids, this guy wants to be here and you want to be there, and it's just easy peasy sneezy pleasy.
I love that prayer. I'm totally using that. I'm stealing it. Mine now.
I you know what? Anybody and everyone who wants to use that mantra, by all means. Can you imagine that would raise? How much light would that raise in the world?
Oh my gosh, totally.
Because humor is really important too.
It is.
Humor raises light. Humor enhances light, and there's all sorts of studies on how humor, impacts the body and health and healing and all of that. So easy peasy sneezy pleasy, and I don't think it's only applicable to driving. I think we can use it for anything.
Absolutely. Well, the Pink Starlights are getting accolades for their book on the comments. And somebody commented, love you two together.
Aw, thank you. I love us together too. This is just like fun, right? It's fun.
The Pink Starlights drummed up this fun vibe. So we're having a good time.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, look for more of these in the future. And we don't know what the Pink Starlights are going to have us do, but there's going to be something.
No,
So
yeah, they'll be telling us and we'll be agreeing.
Yep, we'll be working around our schedule.
We know better than to resist, right?
Yes, we do.
So we will do what they tell
We
us,
will
and we'll sort of
try to resist.
we'll do the best
But
we can, and we'll
yeah.
we'll just be fun. We'll just, when they tell us something, we'll say easy peasy sneezy please.
That's it.
We'll see where we go.
And they will laugh, and we will laugh. Lynsi, thanks so much for chatting tonight.
Thank
Appreciate you.
you. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you too. Thank you so much. This was just great. Thanks everybody for hanging out.
Yeah, thanks everyone for being here. Pink Starlights, yep, they're still cheering over here, jumping up and down. Oh yeah, oh shit. They just went.
Oh yeah, they're diabolical. I think they're diabolical. Yeah.
They're like, we got good stuff going. All right, calm down. Okay.
Okay.
We'll chat with them later.
Yeah.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thanks so much.
Bye.
Thanks everybody. Okay, bye.